guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Predaplants. We're going to be talking about this deck again, due to the fact that this deck got new support and the new Legendary Duelist set, Immortal Destiny. We're going to be pretty much discussing how good this deck will be after that set drops. So in this video I'll be covering the new support that they got, which is around 5 cards, and pretty much talk about what they can do for the deck, and if they're going to make the deck meta-defining, or if it's going to be just a rogue option, or if it's just going to stay a fun deck, pretty much. So that's pretty much going to be the whole basis of this video, pretty much how good the deck will be after the Immortal Destiny drops, which it will be in around September. So yeah, so let's just get right into it. So Predaplants, they've been around for a while, pretty much like they debuted in Invasion Vengeance, and they've pretty much gotten spotty support as sets go by. Their main good support came out in Fusion Enforcers, or like, I guess good. Like the most of it came out in Fusion Enforcers with their like Chimera and like some of their main deck monsters, better ones. But they didn't get like their really good main deck monsters until Maximum Crisis, which was Scorpio and Cobra, which pretty much was the whole Predaplant engine, like debut of that, and just pretty much gave the deck some more consistency because Scorpio pretty much tutored out the whole deck, and then Cobra could just search out any of your fusion spells, which could help your deck function faster, which was good. And yeah, that's pretty much it until like Soul Fusion came around, and then they got a new fusion monster, and also a new way of getting spreading up predator counters, which is also good. So, which like after Soul Fusion came out, the deck still was a fun deck, like a mere fun deck, just because yes, it had like some powerful fusion monsters like Starving Venom, Chimera, or like the new Dragosepelia. It just had problems with the consistency department, and also those set fusion monsters were susceptible to removal and weren't really like that oppressive. Drago, yes, could like give your opponent predator counters and then negate monsters with predator counters, but like it just it was easy to get rid of because it didn't really have any form of protection. But now that we have Immortal Destiny coming out, it does give like the new cards that come out gives the deck some consistency, and gives it some more like board spam as well, and also a new more ways of spreading out your predator counters as well, and also a more powerful fusion monster. So let's get right into that. So they do get 5 new cards, 4 of them in the main deck, 1 of them in the extra deck. So one of them is the Predaplant Helia Pharynchus, Predaplanting, Preda Prime Fusion, Preda Practice, and then the fusion monster is the Predaplant Trifio Verdum. All 5 of these are going to be in the Legendary Duelist set, so yeah, let's just cover them quickly. So the first one is the monster Predaplant Helia Pharynchus. So basically with him, if your opponent controls a monster with a predator counter, you can special this card from your hand. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can target one dark dragon or plant monster in your graveyard except himself, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Predaplant Helia Pharynchus once per turn. So it's a good way of board spamming, which is nice. It has its own special summon condition, and it's actually pretty easy because all you have to do is get a predator counter on one of your opponent's monsters. So that's pretty easy to help to get this guy out. And he's really nice because he can help revive some of your fusions, which are dark dragons, or some of your other Predaplants, which is also good. So I really like him. He's a really nice card for the deck, and he's also level 8, which is also good to get into Greedy Venom really easier. So I see no downsides with this card. It's really nice. Yes, he can be kind of stay in your hand a long time if you can't get predator counters out, but honestly this whole deck can just spew out Predaplant counters easily. I don't see a problem of getting this guy out at all. So yeah, that's the monster. Now on to their next card, which is the spell card. Their next card, which is the spell card, Practice. So it's a normal spell card. Special summon 1 Predaplant monster from your hand, then add 1 Predap card from your deck to your hand, except Practice. Also for this turn, as this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters. You can only activate 1 Practice per turn. This is their best card probably to date, but just because of the fact it gives it consistency, and it can now do some the deck can now has access to searching options as well, and also some more board spamming, ways as well, which is because of this card as well. So Yeah, I really like this card. It's going to be a 3 of, regardless, in any Predaplant build at all, I feel, now, after this card comes out. Just because you can just get out a Predaplant from your hand, and then also just add any Predac card. So you can add Predaponics, you can add Predapruning, you can add your Predaplast, it's just, or any of your Predaplant monsters as well. So, really good, great 3 of for the deck. A card that this deck really needed in the consistency department. And I know it's kind of annoying that you're just locked out of other monsters, like locked into fusion monsters after this, card resolves. But honestly, I'm pretty sure after you resolve this, you're probably going to be going into a bunch of fusions anyway. So I see no downside. I think actually there is kind of a downside actually, because you might have to activate it and kind of when you activate, you're going to be limited in what you want to go into in the extra deck. But honestly, it's a great card regardless, and it just gives the deck more consistency, which it needs desperately. Now on to the next card, which is their second spell, which is a new fusion spell. Predaprime Fusion is a quick play spell card. If a Predaplant monster is on the field, fusion summon 1 dark fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as fusion material, including at least 2 dark monsters you control. You can only activate 1 Predaprime Fusion per turn. So a pretty simple card. It's kind of like a pseudo super poly in a way for the deck, like an easier super poly without the discard. But your opponent can respond to it, which sucks. So it's kind of like super poly, but it's not in a way. The downside is it requires you to have 2 dark monsters on the field, on your side of the field, which kind of sucks. But in a way, but it's honestly, I feel like that's a warranted nerf, because if that requirement wasn't there, this deck would be just insane with this kind of card in its arsenal. So I can see why it's that balancing aspect is in it. So I guess that's fine. But I like that it's just like a kind of a pseudo super poly for the deck. It's nice. It's a cool power card. Cool quick play you can utilize, and it's also searchable, obviously off of Cobra, which is amazing. So yeah, it's a great card. I don't know how many ratio wise you run with this. I know you're gonna be running super poly in the main deck anyway, so I don't know what the ratio of this card would be. Maybe as a 1 of, or maybe a 0 of at all. I mostly see it as a 1 of though, for the most part. But it's a great card regardless. A cool new toy for the deck. A cool new fusion spell they can utilize. Now onto the last main deck card, which is Predaplanting. Predaplanting is a noble trap card. Send 1 Predaplant monster from your deck to the graveyard. Place 1 Predator counter on each face-up monster in the field, and if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or higher become level 1 as long as they have a Predator counter. If you fusion summon a dark monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a card in the field, destroy it. You can only use each effect of Predaplanting once per turn. Now I like the fact that the regular effect is cost, so you can send a Predaplant monster from here to the graveyard as a cost, so it's kind of cool that you get a free Foolish Burial in a way. And also you get to just place a bunch of Predator counters on all monsters. That's also great because it helps with your Clemine Sundo for using them as fusion materials, and it just helps with all your other cards that require your opponent to have Predator counters, which is great. So I really like it. It's a great way of spreading stuff around. Yes, it is a trap card, so it kind of is slow in a way, but honestly, I don't see it as a problem, as a big hindrance, because it does what it needs to do, and it gives your opponent a bunch of Predator counters. I like the secondary effect because it gives the deck some more offensive plays and everything, where you can just pop a card in the field, which is great. Yes, it requires you to fusion summon, and it's kind of also slow in a way, but it does what it has to do, just to, get rid of a card in the field. I do see this kind of, you could, if you wanted to send this off a Foolish Burial Goods, if you want to do it that route, which is kind of nice, but I feel like you're going to be using it more for the first effect to help spread counters around, and the secondary effect is just kind of like a bonus in a way to me. So I could see it more of a 2 of in a way. So now onto the last support card, which is in the extra deck department. Their new fusion monster, which is Predaplant Trifiovertum. It's a big boy. So he is a dark plant fusion monster, level 9, 3000 attack, 3000 defense. He requires 3 dark monsters in the field as fusion material. Gains attack in attack equal to the combined original attack of all other monsters in the field with a Predator counter. You can only use each of the following effects of Predaplant, Trifia Verdum once per turn. When your opponent would special summon a monster from the extra deck while you control this fusion summon card, quick effect, you can negate the summon if you do destroy that monster. Second effect, if your opponent controls a monster with a Predator counter, you can special summon this card from your graveyard in defensive position. So, two really good effects on a very beefy monster. I like that. I like that he gets more beefy if you use monsters with Predator counters as material. That's really nice. It goes well with Predaplanting, goes well with Predaplants, I mean. So you got some synergy there, which is nice. And all the other cards that give your opponent Predator counters. I love his first effect where it's like you can negate a summon of a monster special from the extra deck, which is nice. It's a really powerful effect, so if your opponent is going into like a combo piece in the extra deck, you can just negate it, destroy it, move on your day. So like, let's say the Electromite, negate, destroy, or a Soul Day, negate, destroy it. Just like, it's good against those combo piece extra deck monsters, which is nice, which I really like about it. And the secondary effect, where it revives stuff, is also great because it's just so simple. Like, if your opponent controls a monster with a Predator counter and this thing's in the graveyard, bring it back. It's 3,000 body, which is nice as well, so it's kind of a wall in a way. So, all in all, it's a really good boss, like a good fusion monster in the deck. Do I say this as the boss monster for the deck? Honestly, yes, I think this is the boss monster for this deck. Is it the best fusion? In a way, yes, I guess. I mean, like, I could see Drago being kind of better in a way as well in some situations, but the fact that this can negate summons kind of makes it, honestly, the best Predaplant fusion we got, which is good. So, I think it's a really good a new toy for the deck, a new beater for the deck, and it's just honestly a great card for it as well. So, but yeah, that's it for like all support cards, the 5 support cards that we're getting in the new Legendary Duelist set. So now the bigger question is, what will this support do for the deck going forward, and will it make it meta relevant? I do not see it as a meta relevant deck. I do not see this deck being meta whatsoever, just because of the fact that it looks fragile still. I mean, just because of the fact of, well, I'll just link off my monsters that have Predator counters anyway. So, which kind of like, well, there goes the Predator counters I have in the field. And some of the boss monsters, again, can be easily get rid of. I still feel, as good as Trifia Verdum is, I feel like it'll just get run over pretty easily, like dealt with pretty easily. Just, like, it can still be destroyed by car effects, it can still be kaiju'd, and just, you know, has, like, and just, like, stuff like that happening, I feel it can still set the deck back a bit, like, when it happens. I do still feel like this deck still has some inconsistency problems. Yes, I know they got their consistency card, Predator Practice, but that card also is inconsistent in a way because you require a Predaplant in your hand. Now, I know that's piss easy, like, in a way, because you probably should have a Predaplant monster in your hand, but sometimes when you don't have it, it'll probably just be like an annoyance, and you'll probably lose the game because of it. So, as cool as the new consistency card is, that adds, like, gives the deck so much more search power and everything, it's inconsistent because of the fact you have to require a Predaplant in your hand. So, if you don't have a Predaplant in your hand, you can't even activate the card. So, like, that's, like, kind of a downside to it. But I do see this deck as a rogue option, like a solid rogue option when these cards come out, because honestly, I could see this deck stealing like a few regional tops, because some people might not even know what the heck this deck does. And just for that sole reason, I feel like if like someone's playing this deck, they know what they're doing, and then they face some people who don't know what this deck does, they don't know how to counter it. They'll lose, and like this deck could like steal tops that way at regionals, and maybe you might get yourself your invite somehow because of like that aspect, which is really cool. Like, Dark Horse factor is probably the big thing with this deck, I feel, when they get everything. So that's probably their main thing going for it in a way, so they can get like steal regional tops. I don't see a regional win, but more like just like maybe getting your invite, like maybe a top 32 or a top 8 at a regional, which would be kind of nice for the deck on its resume. So yeah, that's pretty much my closing thoughts on it. Don't see this deck as a meta relevant deck, but I do see it as a solid rogue option when it gets its support in September. So that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. What do you guys think of Predaplants going forward? What do you guys think of the new support? Do you think I'm wrong when I say it's just a rogue option? Do you think I think it's going to be do you think I think it's worse than I'm saying it is, or do you guys think it's better than I'm giving it credit for? So, leave it out in the comment section below. Like, what do you guys think of with the new support? What are you guys' favorite? What are you guys' favorite card they're getting in that Legendary Duelist set? Which one of these 5 cards is your favorite? And also, what are you guys planning on running in your Predaplant decks when it all comes out? So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, leave a like, comment, definitely subscribe. I'll see you guys next video. Have a nice day.